boy Ye comes out and says the unthinkable, the incredible. You know what I mean? And of course, people like me who've been saying stuff like this for years, of course, we sitting there like, you know what I mean, told you so. But of course, there's still people who don't believe in this type of stuff that still aren't convinced. But this is what you gotta understand about this whole quote unquote Illuminati, the people, the elite, whatever you want to call it. When you hear stuff like people say, oh, there's such and such sacrifice and stuff like that, you automatically think it has something to do with magic. You know what I mean? And all this extra human type of stuff. But you gotta look at it like this. Say somebody says, look, say there's somebody, say you gotta fight somebody. You're one person, you're 100 pounds, you're weak, you don't have no fight in you, and you gotta fight 10 people in one day, and you gotta beat them all. Say somebody's like, yeah, I'm betting my money on this 100-pound dude that he can beat all 10 of these big, huge, mean dudes by himself. So somebody gonna bet them, of course they're gonna be like, well, I'll take that bet. There ain't no way in hell this dude gonna beat these 10 people. But with the person who's gonna bet against the dude that's weak is that he don't know that the person that put the whole thing together has already paid these 10 people off to not beat this dude up and to take the fall and to take the L. And that's exactly what all this stuff, when we talk about people being sacrificed, that's what this stuff really means. It doesn't have to mean it's something spiritual as far as like astronomical or extraordinary or magical. It's about people who rig it stuff behind the scenes. So like I said, and the weak dude in the fight, he might not even know that the person who has it all orchestrated has it orchestrated to the point where these 10 dudes that he's going to fight are not going to beat him because he's not in on the game. You know what I'm saying? And hit the like button if you're up in there. So that's what you got to understand. So when the people who raided Egypt, I said this on my last channel, I had videos about this. Just a little brief thing before we talk about the whole Yeezy thing. The people who raided Egypt and the pyramids and all that type of stuff, Napoleon and all them, these are the same people that are in control now. You know what I'm saying? Or at least that same knowledge that was gained from there is still in the hands of the people who are in control, whether it's the same group of people that went in there back then or not. But the thing is, when they went in there and saw that information, that's why symbolism is so important in the Illuminati, whatever you want to call it, because their highest interaction with the information they've seen in the pyramids and stuff like that is only through symbolism, because they don't have any divine connection to it. You know what I'm saying? So try to understand that. But what they do also have is they have the tools and they have the resources and they have the power and the weapons to control everything. So they still have it rigged either way. They just don't understand the information. So that brings us to the stuff we see in Hollywood. Like I told you all years ago, which I heard people say since then, like Hollywood, the word Hollywood comes from a holly tree. It's the wood from a holly tree. The magic wand in Hollywood is made of wood from a holly tree. That's why it's called Hollywood. So that's how the people that have been controlling it since back then control Hollywood. Just like Ye just came out and said, people like me been saying, they control all this stuff. They control the numbers. They control all this stuff. They can make somebody pop overnight if they want. They can make somebody go down overnight if they want, especially now, because now we have come to the point where the technology they've been putting out has made it to where we're now directly under control of the people who control the numbers. Now it's directly like that. All this streaming and stuff like that. We're at a point now with all this stuff to where you can be made or broke overnight. And the more they box out everybody else who's opposed to this type of stuff, and the more they bring in people who will go along with it, the easier it's going to be to box out anything that they don't want to be heard or said. Anything, you know what I'm saying? Because now you'll get to a point where, of course, the algorithm is what it is. Anytime somebody's name pops up on something, they can block it out. You know what I'm saying? Anytime somebody's going to give somebody their platform, they can block it out. You know what I'm saying? So that brings us to, like I said, the whole thing with the sacrifice stuff. So you don't look at it automatically like you gotta mean something magical and stuff like that. But in Ye's situation, that's why I got the the thumbnail of the video I did, hit the link in the description. You can see the video I did. I told y'all jokers like the beginning of the year when that Yeezus documentary came out about Donda and Diddy. I put on there. Nobody said this. Nobody was talking about this. You know what I'm saying? I'm the first person who said this, and you can see the proof on it if you hit the link in the description. I mentioned this way back earlier in the year before all this Diddy and Kanye beef even started. Donda knew what Diddy was there for. That's why when Donda walked into the room, Diddy and Kanye both were caught off guard. You know what I'm saying? They both look super uncomfortable. You can look at the video. Hit the link in the description and watch the video I got on there. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Donda knew. Donda was the only thing that was holding Kanye where he was at, keeping him grounded to be who he was. You know what I'm saying? As far as like keeping his mental state developed. But it's all psychological too. You gotta understand. There's certain. You gotta also too know that when it comes to psychology and stuff like that, you can believe it or not. But there's people that know you better than you know yourself. Just for the simple fact that they understand how psychology works. You know what I'm saying? Hit the goddamn like button, because what I'm telling you is definitely 100% true. Yeah, psychology is not 100% scientific proof. It's not 100% foolproof. Of course, people can be. Your brain is real complicated. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's not. But of course, everybody's not going to follow the exact scope every single time for what they're supposed to be. The people are going to deviate from what psychology will label them to be. You know what I'm saying? Even if there's like proof of what they were before that. You gotta read some of these books I read. You'll understand what I'm talking about. Read stuff like the laws of human nature. Read that book. Read psychology, the dark secrets of psychology, stuff like that. You'll understand. And then when you read it, you'll be like, damn, I understand it, because you yourself have probably come to some of these conclusions on your own, just with the information that you've been dealing with throughout your experiences. You know what I'm saying? That's why when I read certain stuff and hear certain stuff, the confirmation be so strong sometimes, because I'll be like, damn, I came to this conclusion on my own with limited information that I just picked up as I've been going along, living my human experience, trying to get through my life. You know what I mean? Like the whole thing with money. The book I'm reading right now, I keep talking about The Creature from Jekyll Island, about the Federal Reserve Bank. I've been talking about for years, since my last channel, about how the dollar, the American dollar right now is literally only being sustained by people's desires. The only thing that they have to make you do at the end of the day is want something. It don't matter what it is. The system's job, the system's biggest job is to make you want something. Because as long as you want something, that's going to keep you getting up every day and going out and working, whether you're hustling, doing something illegal, going to 9 to 5. As long as you want something, that's what's going to keep you every day getting up and going out and working. You know what I'm saying? And doing something one way or another to get what you want. Because the debt that we're living on, something else I'm talking about, is that the American dollar. Like I said, I'm going somewhere with this. I know this kind of sound off topic, but it's not. The American dollar is literally being held up by desire and debt. We've been saying that for years, the debt part, because it sounds cute when you say it. But when you understand how the Federal Reserve works with the banking and the loans and how they give money out and how banks operate, then you really understand that we are literally being upheld by debt. Here's a quick example of how we're being upheld by debt. Say the bank gives a loan to a joker for $100,000. Immediately when the bank gives a loan to somebody for $100,000, the interest that's created with that loan, say there's 20% interest on $100,000. So automatically that debt has, the banks have a book, the ledger that they got to keep balanced. You got a negative side of the ledger and you got a positive side of the ledger. If you got a positive loan or a negative loan. A negative loan meaning somebody took a loan from the bank and they ain't paying it, and it's just automatically becomes a loss for the bank. Then you got the other side to where the positive side is a person who's paying the loan, because as they're paying the loan off, they're paying the interest on the loan. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, a quick example is when the bank gives somebody a $100,000 loan with a certain amount of interest on it, let's say 20% interest, whatever interest rate, automatically in their ledger, that allows them to put that loan as a positive loan, for the simple fact that the debt creates interest, even though the person that they gave it to hasn't even made a single payment on it, even though that the person may not even make a single payment on it. Some people take loans out to get certain stuff with the intention on not paying for it just to get it free, and they'll be like, fuck it, after this, I don't care about my credit, I don't care about this and that, because I'm getting with this right here I need. So that allows a bank to automatically balance their ledger as a positive ledger as long as that loan is out before that person defaults on the loan. But the next step of that is that when a person defaults on that loan, they'll come with a new loan. And I've been through this myself as far as like people just trying to take your debt with new loans. They'll come with a new, they'll offer you a new loan. They might disguise it through a different bank, a different company, but it'll be a new loan with a smaller, slightly smaller interest rate. They'll be like, look, we see you ain't paying this loan off. You're going more in debt. Here's a new loan. We'll pay that debt off. Take this loan with us for a lower interest rate, and we'll give you a couple extra dollars so you can get yourself together, stuff you might need at home with this loan, and it's a smaller interest rate. So they'll come with that. So that allows them to keep that first loan they gave out to this joker that didn't pay it. That allows that loan to stay on a positive side of the ledger because it's still a fresh loan. The person hasn't defaulted yet. So they'll go back and forth with that a couple times before it comes to the point where the loan is totally default. But the last part of here's the key to all that. The last part of that loan, when they give out to this person with this debt, with this interest that didn't pay it, the last part of that is something called lender of last resort. And this is where the Federal Reserve in 1913, when money stopped being backed by gold, this is where it comes into effect of what we're living in today right now. The lender of last resort is called. And what that is literally the bank the Federal Reserve Bank being able to literally print money out of thin air that's not backed by anything in order to sustain the bank and this is how these banks that give these loans out, I know it sounds like I'm ranting about something different, but it ties in. These banks that be giving out these fraudulent fake loans, the ones that do this are more encouraged to do it and more propelled to do it because the way the Federal Reserve is put together to come back and bail these banks out, because at the end of the day, when they come with the lender of last resort, that means print money out of thin air to revitalize this bank. Here's the thing about that. What that's disguised under is something called inflation. That's what we're going through right now at this minute, inflation. You know what I'm saying? The lender of last resort, the cover for the lender of last resort, if you've been following what I just been saying, the remedy for that, the rescuer for that, the band-aid for that is called inflation. And what inflation is a hidden tax that's put on to the American people that they don't even understand they're paying. That's why I look like everything now, the gas is up, everything's inflated. It looks like the price of everything is going up. But here's even the further thing to it that you don't understand until you know how it works. It looks like the price of gas is going up. It looks like the cost of food is going up. It looks like the cost of everything is going up. But in reality, the value of the dollar is going down. That's the trick that people aren't seeing. Stuff don't cost more. The value of the dollar is going down because when these banks do these fraudulent loans and stuff like that, and the lender of last resort comes in, the taxpayers, the people who's paying for stuff, us, we're the ones when they say that we got to bail the bank out and the whole thing with the whole real estate stuff and Ford and all these people we got to bail them out, the taxpayers. Of course, people ain't happy with that, and people would jump up. We were like, we're the taxpayers. Why we got to bail the banks out? Why we got to do all this stuff? Because, so they're still going to say to an extent, they'll still put that out there. But the part that they don't tell us is that the nice way of doing it without us even catching on to it, instead of telling you we got to bail these people out for doing this fake stuff, they do inflation and taxes like that. So they don't call it a tax. They call it just inflation because, like I said, I did kind of rant and go a little bit too far to try to tie this in, and that's what we're going through now. That's why if you read this book, you'll understand how deep this stuff is. Like with J.P. Morgan telling we don't want the Joker's money in here no more. J.P. Morgan just a few years ago had a ship filled with drugs, you know what I'm saying, that came through Philadelphia, filled with cocaine. I forget, like billions of dollars of cocaine. It was a J.P. Morgan ship, you know what I'm saying? Nobody got in trouble for that. Nobody went to jail for that. Nobody was charged for that. You know what I'm saying? J.P. Morgan was involved with Epstein, all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? I see somebody type something, but I can't. It's like a lot of traffic. I can't really look down at the phone too long. And all this stuff ties in. That's why I said before, this TV show, the Blacklist, that TV show was about Jeffrey Epstein, and if not specifically about him, it's about the people like him. Is how this stuff operates behind the scenes. I told y'all that. But back to Ye, like I said, so him saying the sacrifice stuff. When I was talking about in the beginning, I just came on talking about how the dude that's fighting against 10 dudes, the weak dude that understand there's no way he can beat these people. He's small, he's weak. But and the person that's betting against him don't understand, and everybody else that's watching that don't understand that the fight is already rigged from the beginning. So if they tell the entertainer, we gotta sacrifice your this and that, give us this person, we'll make everything work for you. They're presenting it to the person, the entertainer, as something that's divine and spiritual and all this, you know what I'm saying, magical type stuff. Because if you say, all right, I'll agree to it, you give a blood sacrifice and say, yeah, take my mom or take my friend, my daughter, my wife, or whatever, and then the next day, all these doors start to open up for you, you believe, you like, they must have really got a connection to the divine source because they told me this is what's going to happen. They said this is a blood sacrifice. This is what they're going to do. But in reality, they just control the numbers behind the scenes. You go onto YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, you put a picture up, you start blowing up. You're like, oh snap, I'm blowing up. But all they got to do is go onto the software, the program behind the scenes and type in 1 million likes for this person on this video, and you have 1 million likes. That's what people are not understanding. That's why people like me be telling you we be being blackballed and being shadow banned and stuff like that. Some of us, yeah, it might not always be true to the extent we think, but you gotta understand that that's true because if they don't want certain people saying certain stuff, it's easy to control the stuff behind the scenes. That's why the whole thing with the whole music, it went from what it went to where we are now. They cut everything out. They cut out the way you can just sell records out of the trunk of your car and come up. They cut out the way you can just burn your own DVDs. And now everything is on electricity. You know what I'm saying? Everything's electronic. So when you control the electricity, and I always come back to this when I talk about stuff like this, whoever controls the electricity controls everything because that's literally the point it came down to now. You know what I'm saying? And the same thing with, that's why as time goes on, I've been talking about this for years on my last channel, it keeps looking like one company is buying out another company. This company bought that company. Disney bought out Warner Brother, whatever, just using examples saying stuff. It's because in reality, the people that own this stuff have already owned it since back then. If you read how John D. Rockefeller with Standard Oil, when they came in with the antitrust laws and shut that down, you realize that all they did is shut it down, but just went and opened different companies, opened up shell companies, you know what I'm saying, with different people's names and different family members and called it something different. That's all they did. They still control the whole thing, but they just put it in somebody else's name and call it something different. And what that also does is gives the person, the consumer, the illusion that you have choices. You know what I'm saying? You have a bad experience right here, you can go here. If you don't like McDonald's, you got a bad experience, you got Burger King, you got Wendy's. But in reality, the same people own all the same stuff. And if they're not related and they're not in it together, then they have a conglomerate and a syndicate to where they share information and share resources to make sure that they stay in front of everything else regardless. It's a deep game, man. You gotta understand the way this stuff works. You know what I'm saying? So back to Ye again with the whole sacrifice stuff and him saying, calling out people like, he went out there and said, I didn't kill nobody so they can't control me. You know what I'm saying? And one thing about Ye that we all will believe, that he's a person that if they come up and say some kind of sexual thing with him or something like that, we damn sure ain't gonna sit here and believe that. We don't see Ye as that kind of person. You can call the Joker crazy, you can call him all type of stuff, but there ain't no way in hell that we would believe if they come up with a false accusation on him. That wouldn't even work, because nobody simply just wouldn't believe that. You know what I'm saying? He don't even move like that. So like he said about Boozy and people like that, he can't be controlled because a lot of other people that are in the industry, whether you realize it or not, have crimes on them that the people in control know about the crimes they committed, know about certain stuff they done. That's why I brought up the other day, I said with somebody like Charlamagne, I'm not saying the Joker's guilty or not about that whole thing with that girl. I'm not saying about, but I'm talking about just the fact of that the information is out there, this girl is out there. A person like Charlamagne, his back is against the wall. You know what I'm saying? He has no choice but to go out here and say and do what these people want him to say and do, because he knows even if that stuff ain't true, even if he didn't do nothing to that, even if he didn't do nothing, enough information is out there, and this girl herself is still out there. We've seen enough people at this point go down with this Me Too stuff that he knows that they can take him down overnight if they want to. And it's something that's already been out there and people already believe it. So a joker like Charlemagne, for one, is not getting no sleep at night ever. You can best believe that Charlemagne is never sleeping good at night. I can guarantee you that. Because he knows the minute that he messes up or don't do what they want him to do, he's going on the chopping block next. You know what I'm saying? He would have to give up his wife and kids and everybody else in order for him to stay in front of this thing if they want to take him down with it. And the other thing is, you might not even do nothing wrong. You just might be the person that they need the next day to put out and take down, because they might need an agenda. They might need a humiliation ritual. They might need to, you know what I'm saying? So he could be the next one. That's why it's easy for us to sit here and point fingers, but I also understand the other part, that the entertainer, somebody like Shaq or Charles Barkley, not to say there's like I got sympathy or empathy for them, but we don't know what they might have on these jokers. They might have caught them. Like I said, the other side of it, if they don't have nothing on you that you did intentionally, you go to these parties and stuff like that, they'll poison you, knock you out, put somebody in bed with you, take some pictures of something you're not even aware of, and now they got that over your head. You know what I'm saying? So let's see, JL. So what about Charlemagne the God? Now I was saying about a person like Charlemagne, people saying about how he's backing up what the elites say and going and he's saying stuff that people was like, why is he going to say that, going along with it? Because a person like him, I'm saying, there's already dirt out there on Charlemagne with the whole situation with the girl. You know what I'm saying? That video, the girl that been coming out, I forget her name. He knows that the elites, the people that run the system, they can take him down overnight with information that has already been out there. You know what I'm saying? We've seen them take jokers down for less. We've seen them take, how many people we've seen with this Me Too stuff be took down for accusations about stuff from 50 years ago that has no proof, that can't be sustained, can't be backed up, but we've seen them come out and use that to take them down. What I'm saying with Charlemagne is that the girl that's accusing him is actually still out running around with her story. You know what I'm saying? So a person like him, he knows that the elites can take him down immediately if they want to use that and take him down with that story and use that against him. That's why a person like him is can easily be used by them to go out here and combat, like Charlemagne's against Ye and stuff like that. Like, and of course he would be, because he doesn't have the choice. That's why what I'm saying is that when Ye was like, I didn't kill nobody, so they can't control me. What he's saying is that there's no dirt on him like they might have against somebody like Boosie. He beat the body, let him out of jail. Somebody they could say, all right, you ain't going to go with our program. Here goes these charges that we already have on you that we're not using, because we need you to go out here and talk to the people. We need you to be our pet, you know what I'm saying, our pit bull, to go out here and combat the people that we need you to combat, because we can come out here with this information we got on you. We know you killed these people. We know you raped this girl. We know you did something to these kids. You know what I'm saying? We know you did taxes. We know whatever it is. We know you sold drugs. We know you're funding this drug empire where you live at. It could be any type of thing like that. And when Ye is saying that, Joker, I'm not doing nothing wrong. I didn't kill nobody. You don't have that on me, so you can't use something like that against me. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, a person like Ye, if they even try to come out with something like that against him, we wouldn't even believe it. That wouldn't even work. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody would believe that Kanye is funding a drug empire, or that he killed somebody, or that he did something to somebody's kids, or did something to some girl 20 years ago. We wouldn't even believe that. You know what I'm saying? So all they can control him with and try to control him with is the money situation. But if he don't even care about that, now he really went rogue, because we know he was part of the system at some point, if he's still not. And of course, like I always say, you gotta always not abandon the idea that this still could be fake. He can still be out here pushing an agenda. You know what I'm saying? He could be being used to funnel out other people who might think like him, so they can try to take down the people that maybe they're trying to identify who certain people are. You know what I mean? Then this whole thing with Farrakhan coming out, I seen the video of Farrakhan put out, and Ye said to Farrakhan, "I'm not even cool with what you said." Something he's little. I didn't really understand what he's talking about. The only thing I think that Farrakhan could have said that Ye might be not feeling is the fact that when he was like, they took, he said Ye lost $2 billion over the course of a couple of days, and he was like, the question is, did he even really have the money? And I think maybe that's the part that Ye is talking about with Farrakhan as far as like talking slick, because I think Ye might have took that offensive, like saying, because Farrakhan saying, but maybe the Joker didn't really have it, maybe it was fake. And Ye's like, no, I really had this money. Why would I be lying? So I think that's what Ye's talking about with Farrakhan, but I'm not sure. That's the only part that I think that he that I seen that Ye could have took personal, like, you know what I'm saying? Then he's talking about people being on Hollywood Boulevard. So like I said about the whole thing with the information on the pyramids and all this symbology and stuff like that, these jokers that run everything, they're not connected to the divine part of what they've seen on in Egypt and stuff like that. They're only connected to it through symbolism. So for them, if they snatch a joker up off Hollywood Boulevard and take him down and do all this blood sacrifice stuff to him, put him on the altar and stuff like that, they might think that's what connects them to the divine creator, because that's what they saw on the walls in Egypt and the pyramids. So that's what they think they got to do in order to bring in power from the creator. But even then, they don't understand it. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why they still do it, whether they believe it or not, I understand it, is that because they're in front of the resources and the information, they got the power to control it all. So it's like a cheat code for them. So that's like a whole different thing, you know what I'm saying? But now that Ye has come out and said that, that takes it to another level and another step. You know what I'm saying? So now we're at the next level of what's about to happen next. But at the same time, you see how Kyrie Irving came out after this Ye stuff. And shout out to Floyd Mayweather. You see what Floyd Mayweather said. You gotta understand, Floyd Mayweather saying what he said. He's even taking a big risk just by saying about Kyrie Irving, about that might encourage other people to stand up, because that's definitely not what the elites want somebody like Floyd Mayweather to go out here and say. So that shows you that Floyd Mayweather is not tied into them people, or at least he don't fear the people. You know what I'm saying? And Floyd Mayweather been saying little stuff like talking about like foundational Black Americans, maybe not saying it in that exact context, but saying about Black people who were already here before slavery and stuff like that. And I told y'all before, a couple videos ago, I said, I guarantee y'all there's people behind the scenes that are down with Ye that are not showing their face, because it wouldn't be smart for them to do it. So these people, that's why they keep saying civil war might be coming. You know what I'm saying? And I did see Umar Johnson say something interesting about the reparation stuff, about if they give out reparations, all they're going to do is bring the value of the dollar down, which is like how I was just talking about with the banking and stuff like that, of how that works. They can easily do that, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, we still want the money and the land and whatever else that comes along with it. You know, so that's a whole different thing. So the stuff is getting crazy, man, because even if you don't believe in all this Illuminati sacrifice type stuff, now that Ye has come out and said this, it's causing things to be confronted face on, you know what I'm saying, head on. Because he talked about Bill Cosby's son, he talked about Michael Jordan's dad, he talked about Dr. Dre's son. And this is stuff people like me were talking about for years, you know what I'm saying? For many years. So now you gotta look at it like, did we drive Ye crazy by, has he been watching people like me for all these years, then we drive the Joker crazy and put this stuff into his head? Or does he actually know what's going on behind the scenes? You gotta understand, like I said it before, you're dealing with a bully. You might know some bullies on your block, in your city, the people that run the streets. You be like, oh, Hollywood has that times 100. Hollywood has those same people, but with millions of dollars, all types of different types of resources, the backing of jurisdictional departments, police departments, you know what I'm saying, different organizations. You know how easy it is for them to put you into a position to where, you know what I'm saying, something that you don't understand is even something you couldn't even fathom. You know what I mean? So, shit is spooky, but hit the link in the description on the. That's why I put the thumbnail up about when Donda walked into the room with Yeezy and Diddy. I did that video back in like February. You know what I'm saying? When she walked in there, because she had already told Ye she don't want him around Diddy. I can't say that for a fact, but I'm saying that as far as what I believe. He knows that she didn't want him around Diddy. You see, when she shook Diddy's hand, she looked at him and backed up after she shook that Joker's hand because she don't trust him. You know what I'm saying? Look at that video I put up. She knew what Diddy represents. If Diddy's in there, then Diddy is there to bring the whole thing with him that she's not with. You know what I'm saying? That she knew that was eventually going to get the Ye. You saw how she spoke on that documentary. Just by hearing her speak, you already know where her mind is at. She knew eventually they would have to get Ye away from her one way or another. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I put that video up way before Diddy came out against him. Way before this stuff even happened. I put that video up damn near a year ago. So this stuff is spooky, man. And I got a video about Ye's niece or nephew years ago. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure if it's on this channel or it was my last one. I think it is on this channel about his niece or nephew being sacrificed. Go look at that video. I believe it's on his channel. I forget. There was some stuff about that. There's some gematria and stuff about that was looking real spooky. You know what I'm saying? So now that he let this secret out, this part of the whole situation, this whole part of the system out, understand that now he's definitely, if he wasn't before, he's definitely now out there on the chopping block. You know what I'm saying? So that's about it, man. I'll probably do a different video where I might write some stuff down, because when you do stuff live and shoot from the hip, sometimes you don't think about certain stuff that you wanted to say after the fact. You be like, damn, I forgot to say this, I forgot to say that. You know what I mean? But if you follow a joker like me, you've been around me all these years, you already know where my mind is at. You know what I'm saying? You know how style get. You already know. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you know me, you know the type of stuff I already talked about for years. You know what I'm saying? So that's about it, man. Stay out the way of these jokers. Do what you gotta do. Seeing a couple people come in here and with the comments, I couldn't really read them because I'm driving. But this stuff is getting spooky, man. There's going to be an ultimate outcome with Ye, because if he's really serious about what he's saying and what he's doing, the only two ways out of this is that they take him out, he ends up taken out some kind of way, or he prevails and something new is going to happen. And I be driving by the Adidas warehouse. It's in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. I be driving by there on deliveries, and they got a now hiring sign up. The last time I drove by there, it said a big sign says now hiring. So I don't know what that's about. I don't know if that got anything to do with it or not, but that is something I noticed just the other day. And they're talking about they're going to sell the Yeezys, like whatever they're going to do with or without them, some stuff. It's crazy, man. Just take a Joker's whole thing and just move along without him. But yeah, that's about it, man. So hit the like button before you get up out of there. Hit the link in the description and watch the video about Donda West that I put up with Diddy. Way before this Diddy and Ye thing even started happening, I put it up and showed y'all how Donda did not like Diddy being around Kanye West. That's my assumption. I can't say it's an absolute 100% fact, but look at the video in the description. You'll see it. You know what I'm saying? But that's about it. Hit that goddamn like button before you get up out of here when you watch us on the playback.